Okay, so today we're solving for a specific variable, day 1. This is my square. If my square has an area of 50 units, how do I find out how wide my square is? Think you have it, Andrew? Area equals length times width. So I'd have to multiply 12 times something equals 50, right? So if I want to know what the area is, and I know the area is 50, how long is it? Right here? 25. How would I find my width? Yes, Brenda. Exactly. I would say, okay, I want to know how much my width is. The width is being multiplied by 25, so how do I undo this relationship? Divide. So if I were to divide by 25 and divide by 25, I would get my width is equal to 2. Does that make sense? Is 25 times 2 50 units?
Yep.
It sure is. All right, so pencils down. Let's solve for one that looks like this. I'm going to write something up here that looks a little bit like this. How about something that looks familiar to us? What about x minus 3 equals 6? I want to solve for x. How would I solve for x? I would add 3. I've got x and negative 3 here. The relationship between x and 3 is they're being subtracted. If I want to find x here, I've got variables, but what's going on between x and 3y? How are they together? What's the relationship between the two of them? Subtraction. How do I undo subtraction if I want to break them up? Addition. I'm going to do this pictorially as well. How would I get rid of 3 negative y's? I would add 3 y's. Let's move this too. Just get rid of my move this over here. Did I do the same thing to both sides? Do you see how this is the same thing as this? No?
Oh, yeah.
So what am I left with, Levi? What's left on this side? No. On this side. What's left over here? X. What's left on this side? 3y plus z. What's left over here? These are 0 pairs. What's left over here? Equals 3 y's and a z. You see how I worked them out both ways? You see that? So I highlight my variable, and then I solve it by undoing everything that I had done in the first place. Let's look at this one. You guys try this one. Solve for b for me. So if I'm looking for b, and I want to subtract 5a's from both sides, that gets rid of my 5a's, and I'm left with just b equals, does it matter which one I write first? No, but sometimes we like to put the lower variable, or the one that's closer to, we put them in alphabetical order. So we start with the a's. How many a's do we have? Negative 5a's. Plus c. You guys got this? Am I going too slow? That's it. There's nothing else you can do with that, right? I solved for b. But the b is what we were looking for.
B equals negative 5
It does.
It can't.
It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying it's normally how you see it. You normally would see, if you've got two variables, just like if you get x and y, you usually see x first, then y. Okay, so pencils down. I'm going to do this one. This time I want to solve for y. What relationship do 5x and y have? How are they together? What binds them? It's like a marriage. Where he's got marriages and we're trying to break things up. They're being bound by multiplication. How do you undo multiplication? Divide by 5x to both sides. Then they go away, and I'm left with y equals g over 5x. Questions? Pretty straightforward, right? Yes, sir. Can I go faster? I'll try. You guys do this one. Okay, so I'm looking for P. In order to find P, I need to get rid of 4 and n. How are they bound together? So how are we going to undo them? Divide them. 4 over n over 4n. That's not x, guys. M divided by 4n equals P. Questions? Other than can we go faster? All right, let's move on. Why don't we put the first one in your clickers. Let's see how good you guys are doing. Okay, let's see how you guys did. Fantastic. Look at that. You guys are awesome. You're very welcome. All right, I said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why do I still hear talking? I don't think we need to do number 2. We do? You guys want to do it? All right, do number 2. All right, let's see how you guys did. Pretty good. Do you guys want to see that one? All right, I'm going to show you anyway. Okay, so if I'm I need to talk to stop, please. It's my turn. All right, so if I'm going to solve for y, I'm going to highlight y. How do I get rid of 2x? You have to subtract 2x from both sides. Then the 2x's go away, and we're left with y equals negative 2x plus 8. Right? All right, without the clickers, I want to talk about this one for a second. So, for instance, guys, when I was doing that writing project, this is kind of what my stuff looks like. So trying to make sense of things and talking about relationships on things. So for instance, this right here. Does anybody recognize what this is? You all say pi. Okay, good. You know it's 3.14. Do you know what pi means? It's a relationship between two things. It never goes away, right, Jesse? What is the relationship between pi? Okay. Couldn't I rewrite it like this? C equals 2r times pi? No? I can't write that? Yes, I can. The commutative property says I can move those things around. What is 2 r's? What does r mean? What does r stand for? It's the radius. What does the c stand for? So the circumference is equal to 2 radius, or 2 radii, times pi. How much is 2 radii? That's the diameter, right? So couldn't I also say that the circumference is equal to the diameter times pi?
Yeah.
What if I wanted to forget about solving for c, or solving for r? What if I wanted to solve for pi? D? Because 2 radiuses, 2 of radius is a diameter. Did you know that no matter what, I'll tell you before I unveil it, no matter what, if you were to take the measurement of all the way around this circle and divide it by across the circle, you get 3.14? Did you know that if you went all the way around the world and took the circumference around the whole entire world and you divide it by how far it is straight across, Frankie? If you divide it by straight across, it would be 3.14. If I took the circumference of my little pinky and divided it by how far it is across, it would be 3.14. Did you know that? Let's solve for pi. What do? Pi and d are being multiplied. You can't. You divide. Because they're being multiplied. If they're being multiplied, how do you undo multiplication?
Wait, but like 2 and R weren't being multiplied.
Yes, they are.
Well, no, like on the other problems
We'll go back and look at those. Aren't d and r, I mean d and pi being multiplied? So how do I undo multiplication? So pi equals the circumference divided by the diameter. No matter what circumference you have, if you divide it by the diameter, you're always going to get 3.14. We weren't solving for pi. I was taking this as a teachable moment, Andrew, and I just went with it. Is that okay? Does that work for you? Okay. Let's move on. Pencils down. This one's a little more complicated. So if I'm trying to find y, what's happening with y right now?
Being multiplied.
It's being multiplied by 2. But we can't break them up, right, until we get rid of this business over here. Does that make sense? I can't break the bond of 2 and y until we get rid of 4x. So how could I get rid of 4x? I seriously suggest you use highlighters on this. You highlight what you want. I should have just highlighted this right here, the y. I want y, but y and 2 are being multiplied by each other. Not only that, but it gets more complicated. I've got this over here. So I need to subtract 4x first. When I subtract 4x, it goes away, and I'm left with 2 times y equals negative 4x plus 10. So now I still want y, and so I need to, in order to break up 2 and y, in order to break them up, how would I break them up? Divide by 2. But I don't want to divide this whole thing by 2 because I see factors in here. So couldn't I just divide both by 2 like that? That's a little bit easier, right? That way we don't have to deal with it. So I'm left with y equals, what, and that gets canceled, what's left? Negative 2x and 5. You guys ready to do one on your own? Because they're being multiplied. That's like saying this factor times this factor. Please stop talking. This is a good question. Isn't this the same thing as, sorry, need that. Isn't this the same thing as this? Got it? All right, you guys try one. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, my turn. All right, so what's my first step, Jesse? Hint, there's steps written right there for you. Highlight the variable. I'm looking for y. So, if I'm looking for y, what's going on with y? He's attached to who? 5. They're married, right?
Yeah.
They're bonded together by what?
A ring.
What are they bonded by?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. But I can't unbond them, right? Multiplication's right here. Can I do that step right now? Philip, can I do this step right here? Multiplication and division. No. I can't undo multiplication or division until I do what? Figure out what else is over here. What's the bond between 5x and 5y? How are they joined together?
Addition.
By addition. How do I undo addition?
Multiplication.
Okay, but this is actually negative 5x, so how do I undo negative? I add 5x's to both sides. Does that make sense, Philip? Yes. So that makes this go away. So now we're that much closer to getting y by itself. Correct? So let's rewrite this nice and pretty and clean over here. 5y equals 5x minus 10. I'm still looking for y, but now that I've gotten rid of my addition and subtraction, I can get rid of my multiplication or division. So Frankie, 5 and y are together by what? What are they? How are they bonded? So how are we going to undo that bond? I'm going to divide by 5. Everything by 5? Couldn't I do it this way? Everybody got divided by 5, right? This goes away, and I'm left with what, Jesse? Jesse, what am I left with?
You're left with 5.
No, I'm not left with 5. What am I left with? Y equals what? What happens here? They get taken away. Oh, so you mean 5 divided by 5 is 1, so we can get rid of it? Okay, we're left with x, and what happens over here? 10 is really 5 times 2, right? So what am I going to do with this right here? They're being divided, so we need to what? 5 divided by 5 is what? So what am I left with? What's left here? Negative 2. Isn't that all that's left right there?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all of it. Why don't you put your clicker away? I think it's distracting you. Okay. Questions on this, guys? Oh, I need to close this. Give me a second. Most of you got that right. Let's see. Pencils down. How am I going to do this one? What's my first step, Andrew? I'm going to highlight Y. What's happening with Y? He's married to 3. Not only is he married to 3, but they've got a couple extra, I don't know, kids, cars, right? Rings, stuff. We can't break these two up until we get rid of all that extra stuff over there. How do I get rid of this extra stuff? Aaron, how do I get rid of negative 2x? To get rid of something, don't we just undo it? Right? If I tie a knot, how do you, I was going to say untie a knot. You untie it, right? So if I have negative 2x, how do I undo negative 2x? No. Would adding 3 undo 2x? If I have negative 2x, how do I undo negative 2x? What's the opposite of negative 2x? I add 2 x's. Correct? Doesn't that undo it? Alright, so what am I left with? Alex, what am I left with?
I'm left with...
What's left here?
3y?
3y equals what?
6 plus 2y?
6 plus 2x or 2x plus 6, does it matter? I'm trying to set it up in a certain way. You guys remember this from last year? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to make it look like that. That's where we're going with this. All right, so if I want to, I'm still looking for y. Oops. If I'm still looking for y, right? Joshua, you said they're married. How are you going to break them up? Please don't move. 3's cancel, and we will wait. I can't go because people are talking and they're moving and they're shuffling. Not just 2x, it's 2 over 3x, right?
Yeah.
Plus 2. Have a great day, guys.